Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Fantasals podcast with me, Claire. And for this episode, I will be sharing my experience of watching the 17 Right Here concert in Bulacan last January 20. I honestly don't know where to begin. The first K pop concert I've ever been to has been August D's D Day in Singapore. This was in 2023. So, this was the first time that I would be watching a K pop concert here in the Philippines. And it's also the first time that I'm watching a concert in the standing area. So it was very scary and intimidating. But since it was the only tickets that we could get during the Carrot pre-sale, I agreed to purchase those tickets with my cousin and my niece. So that was a very intimidating experience for me because everyone was worried about me and saying that I might not be able to handle standing there for more than 3 hours waiting for the concert and then the concert itself. But it was actually a very fun experience. And to be honest, I really didn't even notice that we were standing for that long because we were having so much fun. According to my niece, the concert last year, 2024, was actually a bit difficult for the concert goers. It wasn't as organized as it was with this one for with Applewood. It was a bit difficult, but my niece kept saying that it was a whole lot better than what they experienced last year. So I'm not really going to complain. It was fairly efficient. And considering that there were so many people there, we had to be in line almost the entire day. We were there. We got there, I think, 11 o'clock, and we were already in line for strapping and then for verification, security, and also for Carrot Zone. And then we had to be in line in our area for standing A1, which was where we were inside Philippine Arena. And it was actually pretty fun when we were inside the arena because they kept showing off these blankets that had photos of the members of 17, and we were all just like laughing and shouting and screaming at everything because it was a fun experience. It made the wait entertaining and fun. Another thing that was really fun about all the waiting was meeting all the other carrots, and a lot of them were very, very generous about giving away freebies, and I really appreciate it. I mean, I didn't get names that much, and I really wish I could have gotten like social media accounts and something so that I could have followed them and thanked them again for everything they gave. So I'm just gonna share some of them that I got. And then we got this from the ticketing. It's all the guys. And from Carrot Zone, I got my first bias, Woozy, which was like, I really appreciated this one. And then they also gave away this, which we were supposed to raise during the group photo time, which says always buy 17th side. So there. That's all the freebies that I got. So anyway, when we were in line, we were actually right outside Philippine Stadium when they were having their sound check and all the VIPs were watching them. That was kind of frustrating because we could already hear them, but we couldn't see them. But still, it was fun. It was fun waiting with everyone else, and there were a lot of people who were really dressed very well, and you could really tell that this was a big experience for everyone. When we got inside the stadium itself, it was around a little past 4, maybe, but it was still very, very hot. Luckily, someone advised me to bring something that I could use to sit on the floor. So I had an old shawl and I sat on the floor with it. There were a lot of people. It was really hard because everyone was trying to get to the barricade side. One thing that was fun about the standing area was when we were waiting, there were a lot of us who were singing along to the music videos that were playing on the big screen while we were just waiting for the time for the concert to start. It was fun, and it really, I guess the thing is, it help pump us up, give us more energy for what was going to happen when the concert started. There were a little bit of conflicts here and there because there were some people who were trying to force their way to the barricade. One thing that I didn't really appreciate was when there were Filipinos and international carrots who were having disagreements, which I thought wasn't really necessary. I mean, I understand that there were, from last year, international carrots, or from what they said, sasaengs, who brought really huge cameras and were getting in the way in the standing area. But from what I saw, there were some Filipinos who were actually being a bit aggressive to some foreign carrots, and I thought it was uncalled for. I mean, they weren't carrying any big cameras or what. They were just there to watch the concert. And I know it can be stressful being there in a standing area, and we know that there are foreign carrots who bring those huge cameras, but they were just there to watch the show. And I thought it was really, I thought we were there to have fun. So let's just keep it fun. If they had cameras, if they had anything that wasn't allowed, call them out. But in that case, from what I saw, there wasn't any, and there's no need to be so aggressive. We're all there to have fun. So let's just, for the sake of everyone else, just have fun. What else can I say? Oh, and before I forget, there were also these carrots that I chatted with briefly about Mingyu and the song Boom Boom, because I was saying that whenever I hear that song, that's the only move I remember from Mingyu. I guess it was because I watched the Game Caterers and he did that, and they were all laughing and they were saying that they thought the same thing. And if you are watching this episode, please give me your socials. I want to be your friend because you guys were so fun to have around. When the concert started, we were a bit far from the center of the stage because it's standing A1 and then there's VIP and then this is the stage. We were right in front of the left side of the stage. There was this big screen up in front. We could see the big screen, we could see the guys from there, but I preferred looking at them on stage because I could see them from our area. I could see them. It's not that far, but when I take photos, it looks far, but it's actually a lot closer than you think. The only problem was when we were in the middle of standing A1, most of the people had their cameras, their phone cameras, higher than eye level, and they also had these small banners that they were raising up so that the guys could see them, and it was so hard to see anything with that kind of view. So we decided to move to another area. We went further to the left, and it was actually more fun to be there because we were not squished in and we were able to go and just dance and have a good time. And we got to see the guys when they passed by during the carts part of the show, which from what I heard, they didn't have in day one, but we had it in day two, which was very lucky for us. I didn't really have that much good shots. What I did was I just pointed it at the screen and then I would look to the guys. Because for me, I was telling my cousin, I'm just going to watch them in person. I can see those videos anytime from other carrots who would be sharing fan cams anyway. So I just wanted to see them, the real people, instead of the big screens. I wanted to get what I paid for. It was fun. It was a great experience. I was very happy to see a lot of them up close, and I thought that it was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. I know I've only been to 2 K-pop concerts, and to be honest, Yoongi's concert is a lot different from this one. And I really don't want to compare because I thought that they had a different concept. But this one was like really, really fun. I didn't feel tired from standing almost the entire day. I thought that it was really, really worth what I paid for. What were my favorite parts? Of course, one of my favorites is doing the Hoshi thing during the opening meant. I always wanted to do that, and I always wanted to just jump around doing the Ajunais thing during the encore. I got to do that and it was really fun. And I guess it was frustration from being the only carrot in our house, so being able to sing along really loud and just dancing along with everyone, it was so much fun. It was so cathartic for me, and my cousin was really surprised, and she was saying she didn't know I could scream and sing that loud. But it was really super, super fun. The only scary thing about singing along to 17 during the concert was that I was standing beside 2 international carrots, Korean carrots, and they were Vernon stands. I could see that she was really more focused on Vernon than anyone else. And I guess I was really scared of making a mistake with my pronunciation or with butchering the words because, of course, and they were so good at the fan chant and everything. But it was still very fun. It's just, I was a little bit conscious at first. but by the end of it all, I just let loose. I let go. And, it was all about having a good time, and I made the most of it. I really appreciate the fact that the guys really gave their all despite it being super hot. And I mean, considering that all the lights were on them and then the weather was really humid and they were dancing for the entire show, I know it was probably a very difficult show for them to be able to keep their energy up and to show everyone a good time. So I really appreciated how amazing these guys are. I think by the end I could actually see them, shaking a little bit. I don't know if it's because they were moved because of the crowd, or it was because they were shaking because they were super tired and they really don't know how to keep the energy up anymore. But it was really great. They had this energy that, I felt like they were feeding off the audience and the audience were really feeding off them. And it was like a big community. It was a big experience for everyone, both for the artists and the audience. And I really like that because the thing with my experience in Singapore that was really different, I was in a seated area and nobody stood up at all in Singapore. And it was really a little bit frustrating for me because I really wanted to get into it and I couldn't. I had to be, no, I wasn't in my country. So I didn't want to do anything that would irritate locals. So I just kept to my seat for the most part. And I knew I would have had more fun if they let us all, stand up and dance around or whatever. I'm glad that I was able to do that with the 17 concert. Another thing that I have to share is because I think a lot of people share this on TikTok and they would always talk about the bias check. I started off the show with S Scoops as my bias. But being originally a Woozy stan, I felt like, he's still my bias. He's like, in terms of biases, he's like my first love, the kind of love that will always be there and will never go away, but he's not the love anymore. So my bias now has been S Scoops, and when I went into the concert, it was still S Scoops. I was expecting to be bias wrecked by a number of the guys. My cousin can attest to that. But at the end, especially during the part of the cards where he looked our way, that was it. He's still my bias. It's still S Scoop. But I have to admit, being someone who has always had a weakness for Librans, I feel that things would have been different if Jonghan was there, but since he's not, it's S Scoops all the way. So should I give like a review per member? Okay, a member review. Let's do a quick member review. For S Scoops, he was everything I expected him to be and more. Very alpha, very dominant, but he also has this like cute, sweet side. How he balances that is, I don't know how he does it, but he does. Very, very handsome. And I love the part where he did the bicep thing during Super. Joshua, every single part, gentleman. The way he speaks, the way he sings, the way he moves. Everything about him is a gentleman. I was expecting to be bias wrecked, but I wasn't. But still, very, very handsome. Hoshi, he's my baby, along with the rest of BSS. I call them my favorite kids. I loved the energy. I loved how he kept it up from start to finish and how much fun he was to watch on stage. I loved him. I love him. Wonu, this was the one person that I was expecting to go nuts over, like be bias wrecked to the max. But surprisingly, when I saw him, all I could think of was like, oh no, he's going to be one of my favorite kids too. Because every time I saw him, he just had this look on his face where, I want to take care of this guy. I want him to be my kid. I can't explain it. He's very handsome, but there's something about him that screams, take care of me. Something like that. Next, Woozy. Woozy is like I said earlier, he's like my first love in 17. And I love that I've always said this, I think in all our 17 related episodes, I've always admired his quiet confidence. Like, he doesn't have to do much or say much to have this air of greatness about him. And sure enough, in person, it's the same thing. Sometimes I would forget that, Uzi's there, because he just really doesn't speak much or do anything crazy compared to everyone else. But when you look at him, it's like, whoa, there's just so much energy, so much power when you look at him. He's larger than life. He is amazing. Mingyu, another guy that I expected to be bias wrecked by, but when I saw him, he really has a nice body and he's really very tall. But the thing is, when he moves, his facial expressions, he's like a baby. He's like a giant baby. And I've said this before, I cannot swoon over this guy because I think He's such a kid, a giant kid, but a kid nonetheless. But I love him because he was also very high energy the entire time. DK, another guy that I thought I would be bias wrecked by, but no, I did not. Again, he's still my favorite kid. One of my favorite kids. BSS will always be my favorite kids. I kept confusing him with Wonu during the show, during the part where he was wearing glasses. They really do look a lot alike in person. I actually thought that Wonu and DK were of the same color in person because in photos usually I think Wonu is whitewashed too much. But in person you'd really confuse them. Honestly, you would. And again, amazing, amazing voice. I loved listening to him live. I've been a fan of his singing, and I'm a big fan of his song, The Misconnections. And hearing his voice that way was really very moving for me. And then Bing Hao, he just has this really cool vibe about him. I mean, very cool, very sophisticated, very, I think, a bit reserved, but I liked it. Song Kwan, the guy who got me into 17, I kept staring at him whenever he came to our area because I kept thinking, oh, thank you for getting me into this because I am really loving every minute of it. Amazing voice. I'm a big fan. And then there's Vernon. Don't know how to explain it, but whenever he's on stage, whenever he's performing, the thing about Vernon is I hardly notice him when he's off stage when they're doing like going 17 and stuff like that, but when he's on stage he is just, he has this swag, he has this energy, and he has this way about him that's just amazing. He shines when he's on stage, and it's the same up close, and it's amazing to watch in person. And last of course is Dino is our bunso, our youngest, and he is amazing. He's an amazing dancer. He's an amazing singer. I'm always reminded of Jimin of BTS whenever I see him dance. I feel like they have the same style, and I admire him. I feel like he's grown up to be such an amazing performer and an amazing guy, and he's very, very cute. So as I'm recording this, it's actually what, two weeks since the concert, and like everyone else, probably I still have post-concert depression, and I have gotten to the stage where I was contemplating going to either Singapore, Jakarta, or Bangkok to watch another show. But I decided against it. But I was really, really tempted to do it because I really want to experience it again. It was a fun experience, and it's sad because I know that Hoshi, Uzi, and Wonu will be enlisting this year, so any future concert would be without them, and from what I heard, Scoops would also be going on hiatus for another surgery for his ACL. So that would leave 7 guys. And I think it would be really sad to have another concert with just 7. But I would still watch it. But I would also be sad because we'd be missing so many of them, half of them by then. So I don't know. But I would love to see them again, hopefully as 13 in the future. I would love that. Well, basically that's it. I don't really know what else I can share about the concert except that I want to watch it again. Thank you to everyone for listening or watching me ramble on about the 17 Right Here concert and being a fan of 17. I hope we can have more episodes with Judith about 17 in the future, and I hope you guys can watch it. Thanks again for watching this off-season episode, and I hope to see you all again next time. Thank you. Bye.